So we're going to put here the vector, Supabase vector store. We're going to add a document to the vector store. However, we're going to need to make a configuration over at Supabase to have access there. So we're going to go here in Supabase to tables. I have all the tables here in my database, but I want to create one to save this vectorized information so I can access it later, like for artificial intelligence. And it's not just about creating a table here. I'm going to this SQL editor, which already has a command ready for me to create this table. Here in Kickstarter, I click here, and I'm going to go here to Lens, Internal. If you've never created a table before, you'll use the code just like it's shown here. Oh, it's going to create it with the name Documents. And I could change this Documents here. I could put everyone in a way. I could put company one here. Everywhere there were documents here, I would have to change it to company. The same name that I put here, let's see why I put it in. Company 1. Company 2. Or any name I put here. I can also change this to create several databases here. And if I click run here, it won't create it. Why? Because this database already exists in your case. If you've never created it, it won't. It will run normally, and if you want to create several tables, you have to remove that first line that I want. Create one. Name Documents, another one. Named Company, 1 company, 2 companies, 3. I delete this first line, because there I command to kind of connect this vector form here, and then I can create several tables. If I click here, it won't create it too, because this document already exists, this table Documents. In your case, it will create and the table will appear here. I can even create a new one here with another name. I'm just going to put Docs summarized here. Docs. Let me just check all the places that are here. Docs. I'm going to create here. Let me see if there's a place here. I'm going to run. He created the table for me here. Notice that it will be locked. We are going to create a security rule for it. I'm going to activate this security rule here. And add the security policy. Create. Put all the accesses here. Then I check all the accesses here. Here in 7 with you. And in 9 show. I'm going to save the policy here. Let me just change this here. So I'm going to specify who can access it, right? Authenticated users and administrators. That has access to save here. Since N8N is authenticated, there won't be any issues here. Other people can't access it. So there's this table ready to vectorize the information. And then I'm going to go here in Embury. Here, it's nothing more than the language model that will process this entire document, all this information. I'm going to use here the chat.pt itself, but you can use another one too, no problem. Here is the artificial intelligence that will process all this text and separate it, divide it. Here, we're going to separate this data, and it's going to be here in binary format. So here, we're going to separate this text into small pieces, so we're going to go here. In this recursive, we have the chance here. Size the chan overlet. The size. It's nothing more than the size. Generally, it's actually recommended 1,000 characters, which is the size of the text. It will take the text and divide it. Take pieces of the text of 1,000 characters, and it will save this information. This overlap is as follows. If I put here, for example, 100, it will pick up the very end there, the last 100 characters of the text, and put it back. Let's start with those last 100 from the previous text. Why? To make a connection there, if I put just, for example, here I have a text that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's suppose that here we would have 1,000 characters. If I leave 0 in the overlap here, it will start the next text. In 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But if I put 1 or 100 here, for example, it won't start the text. No. 8, it will start again. Siena, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it repeats here the very end of the previous text. It starts with the end to create a connection. So, a reasonable number. Here it would be 100 to create a connection here, to make it easier for the language model to access, lock the information. Here, I'm going to choose the name of the folder. What did we create that isn't showing up? It seems that the ones we created now, I'm going to change the key here, and I'm going to make it show up again. What we just created here? So, let's just delete the document here in storage. If not, it won't work, and it will say that the document name already exists, and it won't continue. I'm going to delete it here. Now I'm going to run it again to upload this document. Choose the document. I'm going to submit it, and let's see if it goes through. So it has already done it for me here. The vectorization. If I look here in the table, in Docs it saves it here for me. Since it was an extremely small table, it's a comprehensive and detailed PDF here with car values. Here's a very small PDF. It only saved one line, but I could upload an entire book or, for example, a PDF of 60 or 50 pages. It was going to create several lines here with the information, with the data here for the artificial intelligence model to access later. Now we're going to build the agent that will access all that information that we put it there in Supabase. So here I'm going to add a chat first. A chat trigger here. I'm going to add the agent. Here, the agent will handle the conversations, and you can add whichever model you want. I'm going to add DeepSeek because it has a very low cost and it's quite efficient. Just go to platform.deepseek.com, create your account, and you'll need to insert $2. I've already put in $2 and have used it quite a bit. So far I've only spent 2 cents, so you can use it a lot for a really low cost. Then you'll create your key and put it in there. In N8N you can add a new key, a new credential here. If you want to use DeepSeeker, you can use another model. For memory, I'll use PostGridChat memory, but also through Supabase. Here in the context, if I leave it at 0, it will retrieve all the saved contexts, and if I put in a specific number, it will get the last conversations. For example, if I put 5, it will get the last 5 conversations. I'm going to leave it at 0 to get the entire context. If you don't have PostGridChat memory here, you can enter the information to generate a new key. You'll find this information here. Create new credential directly in Supabase. You go to Connect and grab some information that's here in Connect. You'll need this first address here. The roast will be here. This is the AWS up to superbase.com. Then you'll have the PostgreSQL database and the user, starting with PostgreSQL dot and that code that comes right after. Then you copy and paste it there. Now, for the password, here in the database, you reset it by clicking Reset Password, and you'll generate a new password. You'll also need to enter the port number. You can generate that number and put it there. Then save it, and if it turns green, it worked. If it didn't turn green, you might have forgotten some information. So try again. Finally, we're going to connect to the Supabase vector store. One detail you need to pay attention to is that, your N8N must be version 1.79 or higher. Mine is on i8 1.792. You can click by it here on about N8N to check the version. If yours is an earlier coordinated version, you won't be able to connect the NOAA tool directly to the vector database. So, if your version is 1.79 or higher, you'll be able to access Supabase here. Here, we're going to select the database that we want to use, which we created in the previous lesson. Here, if I leave it at 0, there's no limit, but since it was a very large document, it's better to set a limit. This way, it will retrieve the information more efficiently. I also need to put a name here. I can use data since I'm entering it here. For example, find the car requested by the consumer. Now, I have to specify a model here. To process all this information, I'm going to use ChatGPT. And now, the agent is ready to access the information. I uploaded a table with car prices there. So I can ask the agent here how much this model costs. And it will respond to me here. I click on test, and then it gives me the chat prompt to talk to the model, and it retrieves the information from the table as it is there. One of the things I don't know if you know is that you can activate the agent and make it public, right? I'll set it up as a chat, and I can add the information I want. I can also add a subtitle, configure it, and I'll grab this URL to have an online chat here to interact with my agent. Let me just check here because I didn't save it. I need to save it. I activated it, and now I'll have an agent here to chat online. I can change all this information here, and I can chat with it normally here. So this can be a way for me to set up my agent, and if it's for internal use in the company, you can configure it to be used directly online at this address. So I'm going to save it here, and our agent is all set up